Hello, everybody. Welcome to What the Frick Live. It's Emily, and Will is back.
Hey, I'm back.
Crowd goes wild.
Hey, what's going on? We're back.
Hey, I need to practice on being alone on What the Frick Live because my
Why? I totally missed last week, and I'm sorry, and I apologize, to Cheryl. I'm sorry.
Oh,
but no, you always do well by yourself.
No, it throws me off. I didn't even tell people where we were live. Like I didn't even tell them where we were streaming or anything. Like, it just throws me off. I'm glad you're back.
No worry, listen, we're back. We're back.
We missed you. We missed you very much.
I missed you guys. Thank you.
We always miss you, but thank you everybody for tuning in. Cheryl's here too already.
Hey, Cheryl.
Woo!
Sorry, I missed last week.
Yeah. Well, Cheryl's on, we'll have her back on again. She's always doing some amazing things with aliens and things over there and UFOs and Skinwalker Ranch. Who knows what Cheryl's doing, but thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Yeah, she said I did great the last time.
See? Told you.
I was off my game. Hey, Chad Cole, good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. So thank you everybody for tuning in this evening. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. So please share this out. Give us a heart on Facebook. Give us a thumbs up on Rumble. It helps us in the algorithm. It helps our show. It helps our guests and all that jazz. All that jazz for free.
Come on, guys.
It's free.
Right? Come on.
I'm getting ready to have to start asking for money over here.
We're going to start peddling.
Yeah, going once, going twice. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. But Will, I am very excited to have you back, and you're getting ready to go live tomorrow night. I saw your advertisements for everything that's going on with Dark Fringe Radio. So tell us what's going on over there.
Yeah, so at Dark Fringe Radio, we're doing a live special broadcast tomorrow night. Please, guys, check it out. Saturday night tomorrow, August 24th, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you can, check it out. Go to Facebook and just look up Dark Fringe Radio. You'll be able to go right to the page there and see us live, and you can help us comment. And what we're going to be doing tomorrow is something a little bit special because, there's we always talk about. I'm sorry, say again. Oh yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Everything froze.
It did. Oh, well, there we go. Perfect. So yeah, tomorrow we're actually going to be talking about saving Florida state parks. There's a little bit of a dilemma happening right now, an epidemic, well, not epidemic, but a problem that's arising that there's developers right now that want to kind of develop on all the state parks and then put golf courses on them so they can make money. Yeah. And so that's going to create a huge issue because you're going to take a big portion of the ecosystem out of these state parks and be, obviously replacing them with golf courses. So tomorrow night we're going to be talking about all the ins and outs of what's going on, the reasons why. We're going to be talking about the money. We're going to be talking about maybe reasons why we should be doing it, maybe not. But I am totally against it, and we're going to be talking about it tomorrow night. So please check it out. It's a very personal topic for me, living here in the state of Florida and being born and raised here. This is all I know, and I want to protect this for, of course, the future, my children and everybody else's children. So check it out, darkfringeradio.com.
Totally against it too. Will, right here with you. Yeah. I will put it on my calendar over here to remind me to sign on. I will sign on, support, share, whatever you need me to do. I'll be there.
That's right.
Bigfoot doesn't golf.
It doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't.
Speaking of Bigfoot, I'm so excited. We have a guest on tonight, Marie Dumont, and she's a huge Bigfoot researcher down in Florida. Nobody ever thinks about Florida as a major place for Bigfoot, but it's ranked. I went in and started looking. It's like ranked third of most sightings in the United States. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Never thought. I have a lot of questions. That's what I always say, right?
I have a lot of questions.
I have a lot of questions. I got to understand if the Bigfoot in Florida is like the same Bigfoot in Appalachia, because when you go south, you tend to take your clothes off.
Yes,
and things. So I got a lot of questions. Is he hairy? Is the what's Bigfoot like in Florida? But Marie Dumont, a Florida native, founded the Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Group on Facebook and YouTube, dedicated to investigating Bigfoot and skunk ape phenomenon. I want to know the difference about skunk ape and Bigfoot. With a thriving community of almost 8,000 members of her local researchers there in Mid-Florida, I'm very excited to have her come on. But before we have her officially come on, I have stalked her YouTube page. And I am a stalker sometimes. I'm Pisces. I can't help it. And I love her YouTube page. I love all the videos. She does a fantastic job, her and her team, and going through history, doing all kinds of things. But she has a song that was written.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I'm interested.
Swamp Queen Marie. I love it. I listened to it yesterday. I even made a comment on it, and it was in my head all day yesterday. I was singing it. So everybody, we're gonna listen to this song, and after the song, we're gonna have Marie on after this. But it's gonna get in your head too. Okay. I love it. It's perfect. Here we go. Swamp Queen Marie.
Marie roams at night. Bigfoot tracks she follows, no place for cryptids to hide. Alien signs she's hunting, Everglades her domain. Female Tarzan swinging in the dark, she'll reign. Swamp Queen Marie, finder of the unseen. If they're out there, she will find them. Oh, Marie. Gators and shadows fall, Marie moves like the wind. Swamps her beating heart, no secret she leaves behind. Creatures of the night, they tremble in her wake. With her eyes sharp and bright, their mystery she'll break. Oh, Marie, Swamp Queen Marie, finder of the unseen. If they're out there, she will find them. Oh, Marie. Oh, Marie. Haters and shadows fall, Marie moves like the wind. Swamps her beating heart, no secret she leaves behind. Creatures of the night, they tremble in her wake. With her eyes sharp and bright, their mysteries she'll break. Oh, Marie, Swamp Queen Marie, finder of the unseen. If they're out there, she will find them. Oh, Marie.
And there we have it. Swamp Queen Marie. I love that song. Oh my gosh, I played it several times yesterday. It's stuck in my head. I'll be singing it tonight after the show and everything. It's Swamp Queen Marie. That's phenomenal. Love it.
Oh,
Whoever the artist was, he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, well, yeah. Thank you to Rockin' Randy Stewart.
Yes.
He's the one who created. He actually wrote two of them. They're the same. There's two versions of the same song. That's the one I like the most. But there's another version of it. And
very nice.
So it was.
I think you're the only guest that we've ever had that had their own intro music.
I know, right? Aren't I special?
Yes.
I think you are special because we've had a lot of cryptid people on our show and talking about Bigfoot. We very rarely have any females on, women talking about cryptids. So I do think you're special, and also being in Florida. That was amazing. I loved every minute of that. I will listen to that song over and over too. It has a good catch face. It reminds me of Ogo Pogo.
I listen to it. I listen to it too. Yeah, every day. I usually listen to it just because it's such a fun song.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on What the Freak Live. We appreciate you. And by the way, everybody, I said I'd give him a plug into tonight. Josh Indella, you were on his podcast, Paranormal or Animal Paranormal or Animal Podcast. It used to be Animal Paranormal Podcast, but now it's just Animal Podcast because he talks about all kinds of other things other than paranormal like we do here on What the Freak Live. But Josh, thank you. Hopefully he'll sign in and make some comments here soon too. But you were fantastic on his show, and I had to reach out to him and have you come on as a guest. But
he's a great guy. He's a great guy. We hope to go do some investigations sometime in the winter. So we're hoping to get.
Oh yeah, he is also a scuba diver too, and he's done some paranormal investigating underwater.
Yeah,
which I found interesting. Like he doesn't really come out and say it because I don't think he's like really big into scuba. I know he has his licensing and stuff, but he has done some paranormal stuff every once in a while underwater. But Florida, Bigfoot, like swampland. maybe Josh needs to take a little bit of little dives into some things to see if he can find anything there because. It's scary lands for me, but I'm up in Appalachia. I'm used to all that. And so never think of Bigfoot. Like I said before, never think of Bigfoot in Florida, everything. But so since you were born and raised and everything in Florida, what got you to Bigfoot? Like what made you start researching Bigfoot, Marie?
Well, I've always been a paranormal investigator. I've been doing that for over 30 years. Started out with ghost hunting, then aliens and UFOs, and then some friends of mine were into Bigfoot. So I was like, yeah. And so we went on a camp out one weekend. It was just a one night, it was a Saturday night thing. It was in January over 5 years ago. And like I said, we were out there with about 15 other people. And about 1:30 in the morning, we were around the campfire, but me and two other guys were standing off to the side. And we heard this loud, incredible vocalization. Loud, lengthy. It took something with incredible lung capacity to be able to make that noise, that sound. And it was just, whoa. It was, if you ever want to know what it kind of sounds like, you can look up the classic Ohio Bigfoot howl. And that's exactly what that's very close to what it sounded like. Just this loud, lengthy howl. One. That's it. Just one. And we just looked at each other like, we're like, oh my God, what was that? So that's what got me hooked. And Ocala National Forest is a hot spot, one of the hot spots in Florida.
So was that how it's in Ohio, right? And
no.
The classic howl? Okay.
Oh, right. Yeah, the classic Ohio Bigfoot howl.
Okay. I'm going to look it up and see if we can play it here in a second, but I'll let Will's in Florida too, everybody. So I'll have Will follow up. Let me see if we can find that howl.
Absolutely. No, there's one thing I wanted to ask you, Marie, and it was something that Emily kind of touched on earlier was, she mentioned that, we're talking about Bigfoot, but there's also skunk ape. What's the difference between the two?
Well, you know, we tend to think that my team and I tend to think that we have two different creatures here in Florida. And the reason why we say that is because the reports are different. The sighting reports are very different from one another. And it seems to be like south of Tampa, which would be like around Mayaca, right? So Mayaca State Park, south of Tampa, all the way down to the Everglades, those reports are of a smaller type of creature, like 5 to 7 feet tall, very thin, long arms, thin hair, but it's usually reddish brown. And they have 4 toes versus 5 toes. So north of, like Tampa and heading north, those reports are more of the typical Bigfoot reports, which is 6 to 9 feet tall, reddish brown or black hair, big, big, muscular. Probably the hair's a little bit thinning too because it's Florida. But they have 5 toes versus 4 toes. So there does seem to be difference between the two areas and the creatures. So that's why we think that. We don't know. Nobody knows for sure. But we just noticed differences.
The reports are different.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And also another thing I wanted to kind of like touch on as well, Marie, is we're talking about the regional differences, from north to south, as using Tampa as a midway point. Obviously, that's a very good midway point as far as Florida is concerned. But has there been any kind of like sightings even as far south, maybe as like Key West? Because people don't think about Key West. There's a lot of mangrove area. There's a lot of forest in that area too. We have wild deer there. I mean, it's an area that we really don't talk about. But has there been reports that far south? I
have not heard of anything in the Keys, but it's possible. I mean, all the way through the Everglades, all the way down,
right?
Through the Everglades, close to the Keys and stuff. Yeah, there's been lots of sightings going on down there, but I haven't heard anything necessarily in the Keys. It'd be hard to get to. They'd have to cross bridges and stuff, or swim. Right. So I can't imagine there are, but you never know. Now the deer, there's what's called key deer.
Right.
And they tend to be more around the very south, maybe some of the Keys, but they're small. They're like the size of a dog. They're very small.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That is tiny. Has there, and I have the Ohio Howl here in a second. I'll put back up and we'll listen to it. But a lot of Bigfoot researchers, and you've sent me some pictures and stuff. We'll talk more about this here in a second about feet, where you find the imprints of feet. Yes. Are there imprints? I would almost think if they were more like towards the shoreline or towards the beaches and stuff, there would also be imprints of them there. Do people investigate the shorelines for Bigfoot?
Shorelines, if there is coverage, if there's cover, like if there's like mangroves along the coast, if it's a real gnarly park that's along the coast, yes, I know of somebody's had some activity in Gibsonton. There's a wild, crazy, rough area that's right along the water, along the coast, very thick. And he has heard several things in there, and he's found prints in there. So wherever it's thick, where there's a good fresh water source like rivers, there's all kinds of rivers around here, streams and stuff like that. So as long as they have access to fresh water, they're going to go where the fresh water is. So
Gibson's very interesting area, huh?
Yeah, right. Carneyville.
Oh yeah, Carneyville. Yeah, I mean, that's where all the carny folks started from here in Florida. So
all the freak show, the circus freaks. You know,
Yes.
that they all live there.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like Lobster Boy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I had a
I'm sorry.
friend who went to school with Lobster Boy.
No way. Are you serious?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and I heard that was a real genetic thing. I heard also that there was maybe one in between, maybe another one that kind of faked it and had like a prosthetic, but then probably yeah, it kind of went with it.
I think Lobster Boy's family. I mean, I think they all have it. It's very genetic, like you said.
Right. Marie, one question, and I know Emily's working on that howl, but another question I wanted to ask you was, and this is a question I always ask every Bigfoot researcher, and it's this: it's what is your hypothesis or maybe a belief what Bigfoot is? Is it you think a living, breathing creature, or do you think it's okay? There you go. I don't even have to say anymore.
That's what I tend to believe because there's so much physical evidence to support that. You know, there's footprints that are left. There's sightings, physical sightings. You know, they've just been sightings, footprints. They possibly build structures. But I do believe that they may have some kind of supernatural abilities. What we would consider to be supernatural abilities, like the ability to cloak or, you know, just disappear, manipulate trail cameras, things like that. I think there's definitely, they have capabilities that we can't imagine.
You think that they can identify infrared?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we have that theory in paranormal too, like ghosts and stuff.
You know, because it's like impossible. I don't think, not too many people have ever captured a Bigfoot on a trail cam. And some people think, well, they see the trail cam. I don't believe that. I think it's the IR light. And it could also be the sound that the trail cam makes when it turns on. You know, it clicks on. It has to click on to record a photo or a video or something like that. So they probably hear that as well. But you know, the IR light at night, if you're looking with night vision or whatever, you can see the area that's illuminated. So animals avoid them. You know, there was a study done years ago. This guy set out a trail cam. He put it in an area. I guess it was like a animal sanctuary, like a primate sanctuary or something. And he did an experiment with 3 different types of primates with a trail cam to see what their reactions would be. And it was interesting because all 3 types had different reactions. And one was extremely cautious more than the others. So, you know, it was like it noticed something and it like wouldn't get near it. And some of the other ones just, you know, they didn't care. So I'm sure they can see the IR light for sure. That's just my opinion.
So you mentioned cloaking and stuff because when I go and research people that have encounters with Bigfoot, a lot of them it's like it's really quick, fast and stuff. So is it cloaking or are they just that quick? Is Bigfoot way faster than what we think that he should be? Because honestly, we're going through, in my opinion, with Bigfoot and my research, I always keep going back to the FBI photo and like what was it, the 1970s, 60s, 70s or something like that, where they put that up and they had that little bit of clip of a Bigfoot and he looks slow walking there. Is Bigfoot a lot faster maybe than what we think he is?
Yeah. Yeah, because I have not seen him, but I know people who have seen him and they say, you know, it's just like they're extremely fast. There's a report that I heard in the Ocala National Forest where there was a juvenile walking through the woods in the middle of the day, which is extremely rare. And some guys on a ATV saw him and went after him. They couldn't catch up to him. They were going 35 miles an hour and they couldn't catch up to it when it took off running. So it is possible.
And Dave's here messaging. He made the farther north you go, the bigger the land mammals.
Sure.
Which that's why I did have I had that as one of my questions actually about the mammals down there.
Yeah, it's called Bergman's rule. Is what it is. So the closer you get to the equator, the smaller the creatures are.
Mm-hmm.
Is that with humans too?
Not necessarily. Maybe eventually, but it's because body mass, because of the heat and humidity that we have in Florida. The closer you get to the equator, the more miserable it is. So something like a Sasquatch in the Pacific Northwest that's 9-10 feet tall and 1,000 pounds or something, they never survive in Florida.
Right.
So they've just evolved probably into a thinner creature, smaller, because the closer you get to the equator, the smaller they're going to be, because they can't, and the food supply they have food available to them all year round, but our animals are also scrawnier than in other places, so their diet's different, and it's just the heat and the humidity, being out there all the time, trying to deal with all that. So they've had to evolve into a thinner, smaller creature. And that, like the key deer that I mentioned, that's a perfect example of Bergman's rule. Yep. It's a breed of deer that's the size of a dog. So, but up North Florida, you have the more typical, deer sizes. So.
I've been to Keys. I never looked for the deer. Next time I go, I'm going to be looking for that deer.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I never even thought about that.
Yep.
Go ahead, Marie, when you go out and you do an investigation, excuse me, is there any type of communication that you try to use? Do you use the knocking type of communication? Do you play howls? What kind of stuff do you guys do when you go out there?
Nothing.
Do you guys do any of that? Nothing.
Well, team member Mike, he'll make some noises. It's kind of like a cooing. It's kind of like a whoo kind of sound. I don't do tree knocks. I don't like tree knocks because, number one, you don't know what that means. So, and you're also giving away your location. You're like, hey, hello, I'm here, so I'm not into the tree knocks. I don't like to do the howls. In the past, I've done call blasts because one of our team members had a call blaster, like what they used in finding Bigfoot or whatever, and blasted out some calls in the Green Swamp, which was cool. But I typically don't like to make any kind of noises or anything while I'm out there because, number one, don't know what it means. I don't want to scare them off. I don't want to let them know that we're out there, even though they already know we're out there. Right. And there's people who believe also that the knocks are signals to each other, like warnings, like, hey, there's a human around here. They're just like, maybe have different levels of security in different areas, and they have the watchers that will alert the other tribe members, the other members of the clan, and they'll knock. So, when I say knock also, I don't really think that they are carrying around a stick. I think it's mouth pops. I think it's a mouth pop, a sound they make with their mouth.
Oh, mouth.
Like a pop kind of. Some people I know can do that very well, very loud, and I can't do it, but just a loud mouth pop. Because I don't think anybody's ever seen a Bigfoot carrying around a stick. And if you've ever been in the woods trying to do that, you could find maybe a stick, but good luck finding a tree to hit it against that's going to make that kind of noise.
That's true, too.
You gotta make it travel that far,
Yeah, because our branches are brittle. So you get a stick, you hit it against a tree, it's going to fall apart typically. So, so we don't do anything. I don't like it, but some people do.
I can understand.
It
makes sense.
We have questions coming in. So anybody's making a question, I'm going to start. I want to bring it up here in a second because we're talking about sounds and everything right now. And I'm in Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, and I had the howl sound, which almost first time I've heard of this, and I'm in Kentucky, so I did listen to it for a moment. It almost sounds like a siren in many ways. Hold on, let me share my screen.
I hope it's the right one. But
I hope it is. I hope. Hopefully, tell me if it's not before you can interrupt because it's gonna be able to tell us here. So hold on. Here we go. The Ohio Howl Bigfoot sound recording. Here we go. Is that it with the dog barking?
Well, without the dog barking, what you're hearing in the background, yes.
Okay.
But it was much louder. Much louder.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Let's listen.
That sounds like a tornado siren.
Well,
tornado siren or
I don't know if they were repeating it, but mine was just one long one is what it was. But that's the sound. That that kind of sound. That's what it was. But it was much louder, much closer. So it was
sounds like a siren. Is it a warning? Is it a warning to people? Is there weather going on, like hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, anything like that?
Don't know. But
that's creepy.
Yeah, it was very loud, very loud. I would estimate it was probably a quarter of a mile away to a half a mile away, and it just echoed right through the forest. And it was loud. It was very loud. So. But it was that same kind of sound.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Sound and vibrations. Like it can go on forever. But do you think that Sasquatch makes those sounds? Like if that's a half mile away from you, I don't think that Sasquatch knows that you are physically there in that area within him. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't research Sasquatch. But do you think that he feels something or senses something maybe in your vibration that you're there investigating and he's sending out a sound that somebody's nearby? Like, what's up with just the calls?
Well, I would assume that a call like that would be maybe trying to locate another one. You know, like locate a mate or like, hello, I'm over here. Where are you? Waiting for a response is kind of how I interpret that. So
interesting. Marie, one thing I wanted to ask is this, when we talk about Sasquatch, we talk about Bigfoot, and one thing I always ask is, when you're investigating, do you feel that you being a woman, you have more of an advantage being out there, or do you feel like you have more success than men being out there, or is it vice versa? Have you ever, maybe thought about that dynamic between the two?
Yeah, I've thought about that, and I don't think necessarily it could be an advantage because. That's a tough question, but I'm trying to figure out how to say this. So team member Mike has been hit with infrasound like 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
When he's been out in the sun or when he's been out with us, as a team. And so right now the team is me, Ruby, and Mike. But Chris was also there too. So there was 2 guys, 2 women. And Mike would get hit with the infrasound. And Ruby and I, we weren't affected by it. And the other Chris wasn't affected by it. It was only Mike. So why is that? So my only thought about that is he's also a very manly man, is what I call him. He just oozes testosterone. He is just like, if Bigfoot's going to be threatened by us, they're going to be threatened by him. They're not going to be threatened by me or Ruby, but Mike, they would be probably threatened by. And they may pick up on that testosterone, and they find it threatening or something, and then they'll hit them with infrasound and make them sick and make them go away. That's what seems to be the common theme with infrasound is when you get hit by it, you're sick, you want to get out of there.
Wow.
And once you leave, you feel better.
Oh, I've never experienced that. That's wild.
I haven't. Ruby hasn't. But Mike definitely has like 3 times.
Wow.
I think maybe I could have been, but I don't know if it's really that or not. Now sitting back and think about it, maybe it could have been infrasound. Because they're doing a lot of that kind of technology in our government and military and things now, the voice of God and all that kind of stuff. So who knows? And speaking of state parks, hold on. Will's doing his state park yesterday. I had this as one of my questions here at the end, but I'm just going to go ahead and ask it because I have some other. But like with state parks in Florida, do you see an uptick in Bigfoot sightings in state parks there? Because it's all over here in Appalachian state parks.
Yeah, well, we have what's called the corridor, the Florida Wildlife Corridor, where you have these different parks and land that the state is trying to preserve for the wildlife, and so they buy, they have these parks or they buy this land around it, so they provide these ways. Pathways that the animals can travel from South Florida to North Florida. And that's where most of the sightings are. They all take place typically around the Florida Wildlife Corridor. Definitely. Because it's easy. It's an easy way for them to travel, to get food sources and, to access food sources and stuff like that. So the whole park thing is just really terrible. That what they want to do. They want to tear it all down. Why?
Because it doesn't make enough money.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's all about money. It's absolutely all about money, which is disgusting. And but we should be preserving the land, the areas where wildlife can live, because there's so much development here in Florida. Houses are just going up everywhere. They're just tearing up cow pastures and just wetlands. They're taking down swamps and putting up developments. It's disgusting. So, the whole thing with the golf courses is terrible. Terrible.
Yeah.
So on one hand, they act like, let's save and preserve our land for wildlife. And then developers come in and they probably get, bribed or something, and they're like, okay, well, we'll take some of our land and you can make golf courses, which is really terrible.
It is
disgusting. So you're doing a show about that.
Thank you, Maria. I appreciate it, and thank you. I really appreciate your efforts on what you do too. Absolutely. Emily, you have anything?
Oh no? Yeah, I got some other questions. I always got questions.
I don't know if you look like you froze there for a second. I was like, I don't know if you froze.
Well, I did a little bit, and but I was just sitting there thinking about the state parks and things like that. And I'm always somebody here to conserve those things, but I also think the government uses them to possibly play games with people too, because we have a lot of Bigfoot, we got a lot of alien stuff that happens in state parks. There's something going on with state parks. I do not want to see the state parks go in Florida whatsoever, because the times I've been to Florida, I always learn something new. You all have different wildlife, period, anywhere else in the United States that I've ever been to.
Right.
And we need those parks in Florida, and I'm glad that Will's doing that. I'm going to do my best to be on there tomorrow. I'm going to share it to all the groups and everything.
Right.
So everything
in Florida is out to kill you or eat you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, because most of the stuff is not from here either. It's trying to kill you.
Yeah. So it's just a hodgepodge shit show going on here.
You're right about that, Marie.
It's dangerous. It's definitely can be dangerous. I love it. I love going in the swamps. That's my favorite.
Any dangerous moments, Marie, that you got close calls out there?
Yeah.
Oh, stepping on rattlesnakes and water moccasins.
We got rattlesnakes up here. Well, we got oh shoot. Go ahead. It'll come to me in a minute. I don't have it so much here where I'm at in the city, but in the country they have it.
Yeah, so we stepped on
copperheads.
Copperheads. Yeah, Mike stepped on. I almost stepped on a water moccasin. Mike did step on a water moccasin, and he also stepped on the head of a rattlesnake. And so these things just scare the crap out of us. But wild hogs, that's something I do not like to see out there at all. And I have been like in a couple of areas that were like, oh crap! I was between a male hog and a mother with like babies? 10 babies, and I was like, oh god, I got to get out of here because I'm going to get attacked. You know,
people don't realize how much damage a wild boar or hog can do.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
they destroy everything, and they're vicious. They're vicious.
Yeah. They're vicious. I watched what was that? The Bride movie? What that had the hogs in it? I can't remember. This is what you do when you get over 40 people. When you're over 40, your mind just goes blank on everything. But Princess Bride, the hogs.
Oh, that's
is what it was. It's Princess Bride. But anyway,
Marie. Real quick,
yes,
one question.
Yeah,
Mike, since you've been out there, many, many times, I'm sure, any UFO sightings? Come on, I know you've seen something out there.
I have not, but I know people who have.
Okay.
And some have been seen at the Green Swamp, which is in Lakeland, around Lakeland, Florida. And I've heard of a couple sightings by people camping out there by themselves in the Ocala National Forest, where a beam of light came down and woke him up because it lit up his whole tent. And he was in a very secluded area where nobody knew where he was at. That's happened twice to him. So I have heard that. I know I know somebody who has seen something weird in the Green Swamp. And so I have not, but I have had 2 UFO sightings unrelated to Bigfoot. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Both in Florida?
Mm-hmm.
Or we're going to have you come back on. That's the other thing.
We got everything down here, Emily.
Yeah, right? We got all kinds of stuff.
So I have a question here with Florida, because when I think of Florida, I think of heat, I think of sweat, I think of smell, and we got the skunk ape down there. So I love the smell of skunk. If anybody knows me, I love that smell. If there's a fresh skunk on the highway, I will drive around. I will turn around and go back there and smell it. But
that's interesting.
But Bigfoot, people here up in Appalachian Mountains always talk about a smell. They always smell something. Is that true there in Florida as well? And what kind of smell is it, if you can describe it?
I haven't smelled it.
You haven't smelled it
before, but yes, people have smelled it before, and they describe it as being like skunk, wet dog, like trash, like garbage kind of smell, stinky dog. Yeah. I have not smelled that yet. I've smelled dead things. I've smelled dead animals out there, but I assume it's totally different, because I would not describe a dead animal smelling like a wet dog. So,
and John here, and we have some other questions I'm going to pull up here at the end too of the show, but John's asking here, how far west in Central Florida do you think Bigfoot lives?
Oh, I mean, west of Florida, west in Florida.
How far west in Central Florida? So how far west over, I guess, do you think?
Well, I mean, there are places oh God, I can't think of it. There are forests along the coast on the west side of Florida, and I can't remember the name of the area, but it's if you were leaving, like say Tampa, and you were driving along the west coast, and you were probably getting near the panhandle, like the elbow of the state.
Okay.
That whole area is very foresty, and there's one forest that connects to the other, and they have been seen. You know, we were talking about the coast, right? So as long as there's coverage, like woods or mangroves or something along the coast, they could be in there. And there have been sightings along the west coast in those forest areas that are on the coast. So
it's the armpit.
yeah, and then it just goes all the way up the panhandle. Yeah, they call it the armpit. All the way to the panhandle into Alabama and all that stuff. So, and the corridor goes that way. The
way too, right?
corridor starts like the Everglades, and then it goes up on the East Coast and it goes along the West Coast. So it like splits. So
Okay.
it provides, it allows the animals to travel back and forth, different times of the year. Probably there's something in the Everglades that these animals like to eat, or they want to get away from the super heat, the hot. So they're going to maybe start heading up a little bit north in the summertime. You don't know. Or it could be, like I said, associated with a food source, like huckleberries. We do have dwarf huckleberries, which I did not know. And but I just learned that. And that's a favorite of bears. I think that they're similar to bears, right? They're opportunists. They're going to eat a lot of what a bear eats: berries, huckleberries, blueberries, stuff like that. In addition to eating people food, going through garbage.
Fish and stuff too.
Yeah, and fish, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And gators and snakes. There's all kinds of things that they could eat out there. Hogs, deer,
right?
All that stuff. So, but they have been seen along the West Coast. So.
Well, when you go to these areas to investigate Bigfoot, and I do have a video here I'd like to share in a second. How do you know Bigfoot's there? Because your group and everything, Mid Florida, you all do a fantastic job investigating, in my opinion. You have the most evidence that I've seen with people I've brought onto the show as well. But you all find some interesting structures along the way. And I do have a video here I'd like to share, and we can watch some of it. It's about a 4-minute video, but it's about a square structure. Yes. This is the most bizarre thing I think I've ever seen.
Absolutely. It's my favorite.
Yeah. And I watched it over and over again, and I was like, how in the world could something had to put this together? It's like building a house. This can't just be landing like how it was, because it was very perfect. So let me start playing some of this, and I can turn it down if you want to make comments, but let's watch some of this.
Out here today with team member Ruby, and we're doing a short morning investigation in Hillsborough County, and just want to show you this. Now, but I just want to tell you a little bit about it. This is a square. Let me move over here so you can see it.
Look at that.
Another square-like
weird
arrangement. This is the second one that we have found in this exact area. So this is a brand new one that has appeared. So if I get a little closer, it's really extremely cool. But yeah, the second one that has appeared, and this one's brand new. So very interesting find. And back there in the very back over here on the other side of these trees by this little pond area is a small X structure. So that is like 20 feet away from the square.
So who's doing this in the woods?
Arrangement. And again, this is the
This
second
is the
one we
second
have
one.
here. So very interesting.
And I
Okay,
didn't
so when I
realize
got
it.
home,
Yeah.
I
So
compared.
Go
oh,
ahead.
you did the first one. You got the first one. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Look at the first one.
This is the first one. It's almost the exact same thing.
It's the exact same tree.
Exact same tree.
It's the exact same trees. How do you explain that? It's the exact same tree.
Sure, that's not some voodoo.
No,
I'm not. No, okay.
What is it down there in Florida that they do?
They do the same. Yeah.
Yeah, that.
No.
Stuff out there in the woods.
Voodoo?
No, that is creepy though.
We can't even find this typically. We have to like look around.
Yeah.
So if this is a human going out, how in the heck do they know the exact same tree in the exact same spot to put that?
Yeah.
Don't know.
That's wild.
Don't know. So that was the first one, and the second one I think was February of this
May
year.
2023 was this one. Does it say the date? It might be on the video. Hold on.
I can't remember if I put
6 months ago. So it was February of this year.
February. Yeah. So May to February. And I didn't know at the time that I filmed this that it was the exact same tree. It wasn't until I got home. I took a bunch of pictures from different angles, and I was like, holy crap, this is the exact same tree.
It is the exact same tree.
Exact
Look how
same
that goes
spot.
outside.
So yeah, by the
Same structure.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I called Ruby and I'm like, you won't believe this. I said the second square is in the exact same
This
spot.
hole is still there on the left-hand side of that one tree. The hole
Yes,
still there.
this is the exact same spot. But it's a different structure, but it's still a square. It's still a square. You can see.
You think it's barkers?
I don't know what it is. I asked a researcher, Thomas Seward from the Pacific Northwest. He's a Native American. I think he's Eskimo. But anyway, I asked him, I showed him these pictures. I said, what do you think this is? And he thinks it's a sign of the clan. Kind of like a crest.
Okay.
A sign of the clan. Maybe that's their crest. Like if you wore a crest on your shirt for a family, that represents a family. And he says that may be what it is, because I'm like, this is the only place I have ever found this, ever seen this before. And there's been two of them. So it's crazy. It's totally insane. But it's my absolute favorite thing. And we're very, like Ruby and I, Mike, we're very detail oriented. We spot stuff. We spot the weird, unusual stuff. And so, that's probably why we seem to have more evidence than other people, because we're very detail oriented. I'm an artistic, creative kind of person, so that kind of stuff just stands out.
Pops out. Yeah.
Yeah, it just pops out. And we're like, this looks like a intentional design versus just tree limbs falling in a particular pattern. Sure, we've seen that before, and we try to debunk it. We're looking up, trying to see if this possibly came from here or not. Could it have come from a tree break up there? We do try to debunk, what we can. But we have found some strange stuff out there, so which is fun.
That's awesome, though. Like, that just mind-blown me when I watched it, and I kept watching over where I was like, whatever. And I kept trying to go in. I was like, no, that's the same tree. That's the same tree. Like,
now,
you're so weird.
That's a park. That's in a park. And I have also found, Ruby and I, we have found 3 footprints there. Another strange thing that I found there is 2 small sticks, maybe 18 inches long, shoved in the ground with an animal skull with it.
Oh.
So you have an animal skull, a stick, and another stick behind it. I have found 2 sets of those out there, exactly the same. These branches are very branchy. There's a lot of, they're little branches, but they're very branchy. And it just kind of reminds me of like a memorial marker. I wish I had a shovel, because I would have dug the ground at the time to see if there's something buried there. Kind of like maybe it found a dead animal somewhere and it buried it, or maybe it ate something and buried it out of respect. I don't know, but I wish I had a shovel, and I wish I would have dug them up. But there was 2 sets of those.
Wow.
There's also been a sighting. I was going to some event last year, and there was a lady in line in front of me, and she was talking about, oh yeah, I saw a Bigfoot the other day. And I was like, what? That caught my attention. Yeah. And she said, yeah, I was over here at this road. And I'm like, is it by this park? And she said, yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's exactly where the squares have been found. The skull and the branches have been found. 3 footprints have been found. And it's the only place I have ever found a lean-to structure, which is a bunch of branches that have been leaned up against a tree. That's the only place I have ever found that as well. So there's a lot going on there at this place. So I'm anxious to see. Well, right now the swamps are very flooded right now. Yeah. So the square is gone. The square would be gone and be washed away. But we'll see what happens in the wintertime when things dry up, and see if a 3rd one appears. So I'm assuming there will be, if there's been 2, already.
Yeah.
I'm going to have Will ask a last question here, and I'm going to pull up some people in chat that asked a couple questions. I said I would pull up too, and then we'll close out. This has gone by too fast. Marie, you got to come back on. That's it.
Oh,
we're going to have part 2. I would probably say part 3 even, because I only asked 3 of my questions out of this whole page of questions. Like, I only had 3 questions I asked, but Will, I'll have you ask her another question, and then we'll go to the chat.
All right, Marie, last question that I have for you is, if there's any place you would ever want to investigate where you could go to, anywhere in the world to investigate Bigfoot, where would it be?
Olympic Peninsula in Washington.
Washington State.
Olympic National Park, yes.
Yeah.
Any particular reason why?
Huh? Why?
Any particular reason why? Yeah.
Oh, that's like the mega place for Bigfoots, for Sasquatch, for sure. We went to the Pacific Northwest in June, me and my team. We were invited to speak at the Medellin Falls Bigfoot Festival in Washington. Oh. So we got to go there. And so we did some research there, and we found prints. We found prints in a couple structures, and we were only there a week, and people are like, how did you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. We just kind of picked these spots. We get feelings about spots. Mike is good about, sensing, hey, let's stop here. And we work very well together as a team, and we trust each other. So if Mike wants to stop and go take a look, we'll go, because you never know what's going to go there. But Washington was fantastic. And I'm telling you, every single person we talked to, oh yeah, I've seen 3 Sasquatch. I saw one last week.
Really?
My wife saw one 2 days ago. My kids see every single
thing. Yeah, person. No big deal. Yeah.
Every single person has had a Sasquatch sighting.
That's wild.
It was crazy. It's like, wow. And they talk openly about it there because it's so common. Where here in Florida, it's very taboo. If you talk about that, you're a freak. No, everybody keeps it hush hush. Nobody knows that we're number 3 in the country for the most reported.
No, I didn't know until I started researching it more. No, I didn't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because nobody talks about it. It's so taboo here. But Washington? Oh, yeah.
Oh,
it's like talking about the weather, We had our team logo. We had magnets that Mike had brought, and he stuck it on the side of our Jeep. And, people were walking up to us. We didn't have to say a word. They're like, oh, yeah, I saw a Bigfoot, a Sasquatch last week. And, oh, yeah, I've seen 3. I've seen 2. It's like, oh, my God, I want to move here. I want to live here.
Awesome.
It's just amazing. And everywhere you look, it looks squatchy. It's like, oh, my God, where do I even begin?
Yeah.
Because the mountains and all the trees, and it's just crazy. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. God's country. Absolutely.
Washington State. So Frank was watching earlier. Hopefully he's still here, but he says, how do you feel about the 4 toes on a skunk ape versus a Bigfoot?
Meaning,
doesn't Bigfoot have 6 toes?
Huh? Bigfoot's have 5.
5. Okay, I thought they had 6. Okay, go ahead.
No, but definitely, I have a cast of a 4-toed print that one of my team members got down south Florida, and David Shealy, he has a collection of what he finds 4-toed prints because he's in the Everglades, and even the Seminoles will contact him and say, hey, I found a print, there's something going on here, I had a tree thrown at me, blah blah blah, at us. And he'll go out and investigate it. And he found an amazing he poured an amazing cast last year, clear as a bell, 4 toes, and they're long toes.
Oh wow.
And my theory why they're long is they probably climb trees. Because think about it, you're in the Everglades, it's all wet. Not many dry spots. You want to get out of the water, where are you going to go? You're going to go up a tree.
Well, a lot of our Bigfoot here in Appalachia, too, they always say they're up in trees as well. So they're climbers, for sure.
Climbers, and so that's probably why they have long 4 toes typically. So
we have another question. John Stewart, hopefully he's still watching too. Marie, do you think the high-pitched screaming is Bigfoot or a different cryptid? Is it Mothman? Is Mothman in Florida too?
No.
No. We got Mothman like 40 minutes. Mothman's up here like 35 minutes for me is Mothman. I grew up all knowing about Mothman.
Yes. Nice. I've always liked the whole Mothman thing. But the high-pitched screaming, if it could be a Bigfoot. But I also know that foxes and, Florida panthers and stuff, they'll make a high-pitched scream. I've heard a fox before, and it sounds like a woman screaming her head off, like she's getting murdered or something.
Yep, sure does.
It's possible that they probably have different types of vocalizations, depending on the situation. Maybe if they feel threatened, they're going to do a higher pitched scream versus a howl. We just don't know. But I don't know about other cryptids. Some people, believe that they've seen Dogman, like in the Green Swamp or whatever. I'm not into the Dogman thing. I haven't seen anything. I have found one large canine print before that was about 4 inches long in the Green Swamp. But most likely it was probably a wolf, because at one point there used to be some wolves out there, and maybe there still are. The Green Swamp is like almost 600,000 acres. If you have a small group of wolves out there, you probably will never see them. Probably never.
We have coyotes as far south as here in West Palm.
We definitely have coyotes, but for a 4-inch print, that's a very large animal. And, it wasn't in an area where somebody was walking their dog kind of thing. Yeah. No, this was in the bushes and the mud that I found it. So something was traveling through the low bushes, and it was big. I was like, whoa, this is the biggest canine print I've ever found before.
Yeah. Wow.
But,
well, Marie, I'm sorry, you all have done a fantastic job in mid-Florida. I am so glad I came across, and Josh Indela is on here too. The animal is in Florida. Thank you for Josh for tuning in, and like, you were one of my favorite people ever. We're gonna have you come back on.
He's a great guy.
And real quick, for people listening via podcast, because this does go out as a podcast in a few days, can you tell everybody where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me all over the place. My group is on Facebook, the Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Group. Also on Instagram, and have a YouTube channel by the same name, Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Group. And I have a website, midfloridabigfoot.com is the website. And if you go to the research gallery, you'll see all crazy photographs, pictures that we have taken of things we have found out there throughout the years. We've been, I've had my team for, at least 5 years. We're out every weekend, every single weekend.
That was one of my questions. How often do you go out? Daily, weekend? What? That was one of my questions.
Weekends. Every weekend we are out, whether it's the whole team, or if nobody can go out, I'll go out, or Ruby will go out, or her and I will go out. And so somebody is always out every single weekend doing research. So,
well, I'm very excited about your.
That's why we have found, the stuff we have.
So much
found.
evidence. Yeah.
Well, I'm very excited about your team. I think you're doing excellent work. We want you to have come back on our show, and I will be in touch with you to come back for part 2, because I didn't even get halfway down my page.
Okay.
And thank you so much, Marie, for coming on. We appreciate you. And anybody that's also listening, all of our links and stuff is in the description of the show. You can find her, but we'll let you go and we'll close out the show, Marie. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marie.
I'll be in touch shortly for part 2. Part 2. So thank you. Have a good evening. Good weekend. Bye. There we go. Marie Dumont. That's one of my favorite people. She's one of my favorite people.
She's awesome. She's on top of it. I'm telling you. She is.
And we didn't get through half the videos I have, half the pictures we have. I didn't even get halfway down my paper here at all with this. And to think of Bigfoot in Florida is just mind-blowing to me, because I never have.
Yeah, I've thought of it because I've been out there and I've heard some crazy stuff. Like we were talking earlier before the show. I've been out in the middle of the Everglades in the middle of the night with a cousin of mine, and you see things, you hear things, and you can see how something like that could live out there.
I mean, anything's in Florida, right?
Oh, everything's in Florida.
Said it
everything.
So
everything.
Real quick,
you'll find everything.
Before I introduce or close out the show and tell you what the next show is going to be about, I want you to talk about what you're going to do again tomorrow night, if you don't mind, Will, for everybody listening.
Absolutely. Just wanted to just let everybody know again, darkfringeradio.com, or you actually just go to Facebook, look up Dark Fringe Radio. Tomorrow night, August 24th, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be talking about Save Florida State Parks. We're going to be talking about how developers want to come in and just basically ruin our state parks and replace portions of them with golf courses and just pickleball courses and all this stuff. It's just ridiculous. So we're going to be talking about all the reasons why we should be against this. And please, if you can, join us tomorrow night.
Yes, I'll be there too. Facebook.com, Dark Fringe Radio. Please go over there. I agree with you, Will. We should not see these things go to freaking golf courses. Like, it makes me mad. So mad. But next week we were supposed to have a show, part 2 of alien abductions with Dave Edmonds. We had to reschedule for a scheduling conflict. So I typically take the Friday off before Labor Day anyway. So we're going to just take next Friday off. Enjoy Labor Day. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. All that kind of stuff. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend. But we're going to be coming back on Friday, September 6th with the Wizard of Oz Curse. Have you heard of the Wizard of Oz Curse?
I've heard of it.
There's a lot of stuff tied to it.
I don't even like that movie, first off. It creeped me out since day one, since I was a kid. So that's, please.
Well, Robert Sullivan, he's going to be with us on Friday, September 6th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to be talking about the Wizard of Oz Curse. We're going to be dissecting the Wizard of Oz and some of the folklore, myths, I don't know, true, like, the little munchkin guy hung himself on there. We're going to be talking about all that. We're getting it ready for spooky season, September, October. Woo,
yes, and I can't remember how many times we rewinded that part of the scene.
I know, just to see if you can see it. Yeah. So yes, I cannot wait. September. We also have a guy. We're going to be dissecting or decoding The Shining movie, which you know me and The Shining Lord. And Shelley Duvall. All that stuff. There's a lot of things coming up for spooky season. Love September, October, my favorite 2 months of the year. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Please share this out. It helps our show, helps our guests. We don't ask for anything here at What the Frick Live. Just share the show. Be in comments. We love you. We appreciate y'all. We'll see you here on September 6th, right?
Yeah.
Friday, September 6th, 7 p.m. Have a wonderful, awesome Labor Day weekend. We'll see y'all next time. Thank you so much. Tune in to Will tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over there at Dark Fringe Radio. Thank you all. Have a great night.